Leave it to an overhyped Disney Predator movie to get everyone on the internet talking in the worst way possible. This might actually be the first time in history that both Grifters and Shills alike are reacting in such an unhinged way to just one movie. Listen, I didn't personally care for it, but you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. If you got something out of this movie that I didn't, then more power to you. But I do not think it's any coincidence that a movie like this is receiving such extreme reactions. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
The truth, ladies and gentlemen, is that the toxic and ugly discourse around this movie started before it was even released, before some people even got a chance to watch it. This, my friends, is what I like to call the Disney effect. There are people out there who are programmed to defend anything Disney, just like there are people out there programmed to hate anything Disney produces. And sometimes it feels like people take their hate or their praise to an extreme level. And that is how we find ourselves in the situation we currently are in, with the discourse around this movie becoming unbearable. I mean, we kind of just seen this a few weeks ago with another Disney movie, Tron Ares. Some people loved it, some people hated it, and both of those are fine. It's when those two parties go on the defensive and they start making generalizations about people they do not agree with that things get ugly. And you know what I'm talking about. On one side, you had anyone who liked the movie calling everyone who didn't a hater as a way of dismissing their opinion. And you have the other side calling everyone who liked the film a shill. I do think that there are shades of gray sometimes in these conversations that typically go unnoticed. Sometimes people criticizing a movie does not mean that they are a hater, it just simply means that they did not like the movie.
That makes sense.
And sometimes people like movies not because they're a shill, but because they're looking at that movie from a fanboy perspective. A fanboy perspective that typically affords them the opportunity to overlook very obvious flaws. And I do think that all of this pertains to Predator Badlands as well. The cycle is once again repeating itself. If we're being honest with ourselves, the early reactions to this film, like a lot of films, did not get the conversation off on the best foot. The truth is that the early reactions kind of hurt the perception of this movie before a lot of people even got a chance to see it. And it started at the top with Grace Randolph herself calling people criticizing Badlands incels, while insinuating they don't like it because the Predator has a girlfriend. She even doubled down on this, hinting at a potential romance between the Predator and the synth in the movie. Now, I have no idea why she said any of this other than she was just trying to troll people, because there is nothing in this movie that would suggest that there is any kind of romantic relationship between these two characters. But that didn't stop the other side of this equation from running with this narrative before they even had context. Like YellowFlash here, who reacted to Grace's post in an article about the film with the headline, "He's queer and he's proud." Again, not a shred of evidence of anything like that going on in this movie.
I don't get it.
This is all the result of two fairly big YouTubers and even the media clickbaiting people in an attempt to facilitate circle jerks amongst their own fandoms. It's outrage culture that has gotten out of hand through and through. And I'll be the first one to step up and say I don't have a problem with people criticizing a movie before they see it. I do it all the time. But I do it based on what I see in the trailers, or what I hear from people who are involved with making the movie. You have to use your brain a little bit, because when I heard Grace say what she said, I was this close to making a video about it, but then I stopped for a second and I said, wait, let me see how this plays out. Let me watch the movie for myself before I believe something as outrageous as this. This movie has plenty of things to criticize without you going out of your way to make it up. If some people want to criticize how scenes between the Predator and the synth felt like therapy sessions, then that would be a valid criticism.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
And then we had this picture getting passed around, a side-by-side comparison of the Predator from 1987 and the Predator from 2025, fully showcasing the downgrade in design of this iconic creature. But of course we had people coming out of the woodwork to defend it, like Austin Burke here, who said this. It's explicitly stated within the first minutes of the film why he looks less threatening It's literally the main plot point. I don't know who needs to hear this, but a bad design is a bad design, regardless if there is a plot point in the movie to try to explain it away. Yes, this Predator is described in this film as having deficiencies, and yes, that is a major plot point that moves the rest of the plot forward. Of course, when people share a post like this, that is clearly intended to compare these two different designs, there is always going to be someone who takes it the wrong way, hears what they want to hear, sees what they want to see, and goes on the defensive. I think Austin Burke's natural instinct is to defend everything because he is so far into the I like everything character he's been playing that he can't see things from a different perspective. I think regardless of the reasoning in the movie, the design of the Predator in Predator Badlands was underwhelming. I think they did 10 times more in 1987 to bring us a compelling creature than they did in 2025 with all the resources in the world, and to me that is a problem worth bringing up. And then we have this gem from one Robert Mayer Burnett who said this. This is a f***ing idiotic take. Badlands is a classic, early to mid 20th century adventure story. It's Edgar Rice Burroughs, an out-of-his-depth hero, plucky female sidekick, crazy animal, etc. You know, like, I don't know, maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Son of a bitch.
My guy just compared Predator Badlands to one of the greatest movies ever made. Now, I understand that maybe this post is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but on some level, I have to believe that he believes in what he is saying, otherwise he wouldn't have shared such an opinion. I understand these things can be subjective, but let me be very clear when I say Predator Badlands does not belong in the same conversation, in the same stratosphere with Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's these types of comparisons, as we've talked about before, that set unrealistic expectations for people who haven't seen the movie yet. Sure, there might be some surface level similarities, as this person pointed out, but that's where it stops, on the surface level. In fact, most of what's going on in Predator Badlands is nothing but surface level nonsense. To me, there comes a point where you cannot rely on gimmicks and cliches anymore if you want your movie to stand the test of time. And that's precisely one of the biggest reasons why Predator Badlands did not stand out to me, because this movie isn't showing me anything that I haven't seen before.
No, don't like that.
Bo DeMayo, of all people, pointed out the use of the big-eyed creatures in movies to supplant genuine emotional connection is really getting old. And yeah, I kind of agree. How many times are we going to try to recreate the Baby Yoda effect, all in an effort to cheaply get a reaction out of people? Badlands does this exact same thing yet again, and it even pretty much steals the entire aesthetic of The Mandalorian in the process. So could this be one of the many reasons why I and many other people feel like this movie has no identity of its own? It's literally playing the hits, either from its own franchise or from other franchises. And I'm sorry, but that's just not enough for some people like myself.
You're really talking about just raising your standards.
This is why I talked about in my review how I felt like I was being gaslit into believing that this movie is better than it actually is. These overreactions feel desperate, they feel manufactured, and I just don't feel like they are going to help this movie in the long run. If your movie cannot stand on its own 2 feet and you constantly have to make comparisons like this, then it's probably not as good of a movie as you think it is. I think Jester Bell on X said it best. Regarding the Predator Badlands discourse, you can like the film, obviously, but yes, it is 100% a Disney-fied Predator film. The jokes, the themes, the cute pet sidekicks, manic, pixie dream girl, all tropes that are hallmarks of Disney and do not add up with the OG franchise. Now, stuff like this could work in the short term, and it appears that it has, because this movie did gross more than any other Predator movie in its opening weekend. But when we're talking about the longevity of the franchise and the possibility of alienating diehard fans, we all know that that rarely turns out in the way that Disney wants it to.
Y'all be cool. Right on.